Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So the other day I was watching Shannon's YouTube channel, Shaaanxo, and I saw that she did a video featuring all of her old favorite makeup products. So that's what I'm going to be doing today in this video. I'm going to be creating a full face of makeup with all of my old favorite makeup products, and I'm going to use some of my old favorite tools as well. So if you guys are interested in seeing this video, then go ahead and keep on watching. So for primer today, I'm going to start off with the MakeupForever Step 1 Nourishing Primer. And I used to use this primer in every single video back when my skin was all dry. Now my skin has kind of switched over to combination skin, so my T-zone is way more oily than the rest of my face. But I'm still going to put this all over. And I don't like to use my hands anymore to put primer on. I like to use a brush. This one is the Morphe M436 brush. I still really like this primer. I love what it does to the skin. It takes your skin from looking very dull and dehydrated to very healthy and nourished. For foundation today, I couldn't decide between these two. I used to use my EX1 Invisawear foundation all the time. This is in the shade F200, and I also used to use the Maybelline Dream Liquid Mousse Foundation in Sandy Beige Medium 1 all the time as well. They're pretty much both going to be a little bit too dark for me, but this one is probably going to match me a little bit more, so I'm going to go ahead and use the EX1 foundation today. And then as a foundation brush, I'm going to be using my Sigma F80 Flat Top Kabuki. I'm just going to use a pump and a half of this foundation. And I'm just going to go ahead and start blending it out. So using a flat top kabuki brush or any sort of kabuki brush to blend out foundation versus a beauty blender, which is what I do now normally, is that it doesn't soak up as much excess foundation, so you end up wearing a bit more heavy of a layer, which I'm not the biggest fan of anymore. I prefer to go with a very light base. I generally only use one pump of foundation these days, and I use a beauty blender, so it absorbs most of the products. I'm not used to having so much product on my skin anymore. This foundation still doesn't feel heavy. I still love the coverage. It's a very medium to full coverage, and the color is amazing if you have more of like an olive undertone. It has such a pretty finish to the skin. It's not dewy, it's not matte, it just looks like a very healthy glow. So since I'm not into wearing such a heavy layer of foundation right now, I'm just going to go over it with this new Eco Tool sponge just to absorb a little bit of the product. Now for concealer, I'm going to go in with my MAC Prolongwear concealer in NW20. And I still use this concealer all the time on clients when I'm doing client makeup. I just hate how messy this stupid packaging is. But I love the fact that it has a pump when it comes to doing client makeup because it keeps the concealer very sanitary. I can't use a doe foot applicator concealer on clients unless I take it onto my palette first, and it's just very complicated. This, I just pump it on there and then I take a brush, apply it, and that's it. So I'm just taking this on my Sigma F86 brush. This is what I would use all the time for my concealer. And I'm just gonna go ahead and place that under the eye area, a little bit on my nose and my chin, and just the center of my forehead to highlight, and then I'm just going to go ahead and blend it out. So since that concealer is a lot lighter, I'm going to take whatever is left on my foundation brush, and I am just going to dab away at the edges just to make sure that it blends a little bit less harshly. And then again with my sponge, I'm just going to kind of push the product in a little bit better. I don't know what I did before beauty sponges because my makeup looks so much heavier right now just using brushes instead of using a sponge. I must have been wearing a lot of product on my face and not even realizing it. So now to set the under eye area, I'm going in with my Shade Light Kat Von D Contour Kit. And I have had this for a while and I still use it sometimes, but I used to use this religiously every single time that I did my makeup. And I just blend these two shades right here on the Sigma F35 brush, and then I just set my under eye area. I still love these powders, but when my under eye area is a little bit drier, they do tend to be just a tad bit heavy, so that area tends to crease. So when I am drier, like in the winter months, I like to use something a little bit more finely milled, like the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, or the translucent. Then to set the rest of my face, I'm using my Rimmel Stay Matte Powder in Transparent with my Sephora 49 brush. This is an angled brush, and this used to be the dynamic duo. This would be the only way that I set my foundation, but nowadays I don't really set it that often. And if I do, I just use whatever's left over of my translucent setting powder from Laura Mercier that I use to set underneath my eyes, and I just kind of buff it into the rest of my skin. But this powder is still amazing, and I love it for touch-ups throughout the day around my nose area. And this brush I've had for so many years. It's still in perfect condition. I'm obsessed with it. I still use it all the time. Now for bronzer today, I'm gonna go in with my Nars Laguna bronzer. You can see that this was very well loved. And this is a brush that I used to use all the time. This is the Real Techniques. I don't even know what it's called because all of the writing is rubbed off. But I'm just gonna go ahead and load up my brush, and I'm gonna start bronzing the face. I still really like this bronzer. I like the color. It's very neutral. It's not too warm, it's not too cool. It's a great shade. And then I also wanted to show my MAC Give Me Sun a little bit of love as well, because this I used to use in probably every single one of my tutorials. I'm just gonna top this over the bronzer that I just put on, but with a lighter hand because this one is way more warm. And I'm gonna keep it mostly like further back on the cheek. To add the slightest bit of contour, I'm gonna go into this shade of my Kat Von D contour kit on my Nars Ita brush, and I am just going to very lightly just hit right here. I'm not even gonna take it all the way down. I'm just gonna take it right here in the outer part of my contouring section, the hollows of my cheekbones. And then I'm gonna flip the brush like this and blend this area. And I'm gonna take a little bit on my nose as well. I still love these powders too to contour, but they are so pigmented that you really have to use a very light hand, otherwise you can go overboard very quickly. For highlighter today, I'm gonna go in with my MakeupForever Pro Sculpt Duo in shade number 1, and I'm gonna take this highlighting shade right here on this Smashbox Fan Brush. I didn't really highlight so much before it became a thing about a year ago, so I don't think I had a highlighter that I used all the time, but this one was one of the first highlighters I think that I owned besides the Becca ones, but this one was way more of a favorite than the Becca one. My favorite blush for a hot minute was Warm Soul by MAC. All the other ones that were old favorites I do still use all the time. You guys see the same couple blushes pretty often here on my channel. I don't really switch up the blush colors too much. And this is a Sonia Kashuk blush brush. For brows, I still pretty much do this routine actually. I use my Milani clear brow wax, and I just kind of lay down the outer parts of my brows. And then I go in with an Anastasia number 12 brush with the DipBrow pomade. And I still use this, but this is in the shade Chocolate, which is a lot warmer than Dark Brown, which is the shade that I use now. To clean up the brows, I'm going in with my Marc Jacobs concealer. This is in the shade 3 Young, and my E15 flat definer brush from Sigma. And I'm just gonna very lightly put a little bit of product under the brow to clean them up and highlight them a little bit. So moving on to the eyes, I'm just gonna zoom you guys in. So I used to go in with a eyeshadow base all the time. I'm gonna use my soft ochre paint pot from MAC, and I'm gonna use this P88 brush from Sigma. This is the precision angled brush, and I'm just gonna go ahead and blend that out all over the lid. So I don't really use eyeshadow bases anymore because I don't find that my eyeshadow creases or fades throughout the day, so I just found it to be an unnecessary extra step. So now that that's on, let's start with the shadow, and you guys know I'm gonna be using the Lorac Pro Palette. This palette has seen better days, but it has been well loved, and I figured that I'd just use it in today's video. So I am first going to set my lid with the shade Cream. I've hit pan on this one, and I'm just gonna make sure that that base is nice and set. Now, in my old tutorials, I used to use these two brushes and these two brushes only. This is the Sigma E40 brush, which I still use religiously all the time, and the E25 blending brush, which I still use all the time, but these were the only brushes that I would use at all to create the whole look, pretty much. So that's what I'm gonna use today, just those two brushes. The first shade that I'm gonna take is the shade Mauve from the palette on my big fluffy blending brush, and I'm just gonna go ahead and I am going to start running that into the crease. I still love this palette, you guys. The colors in here are perfect, they're amazing. You have so many matte shades, so many shimmer shades, and they're all so pigmented, so blendable, so forgiving. A beginner would love this palette because the shadows just are, oh, they're just amazing. I can't recommend this palette enough. So I lied earlier, I used to also use this brush a ton. This is the E55 Flat Shading Brush by Sigma. So I'm gonna use that today, and I'm gonna take a little bit of the shade Pewter on this brush. This color is about to hit pan. We're getting there, guys. I wanna hit pan on all the colors, so I feel like I really got the most use out of this palette. But I'm gonna take this shade, and I'm just gonna hit it on the center of the lid. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this blending brush, the E25, and I'm going to tap into a mixture of sable and taupe. Oh, I used to use sable and espresso to fill in my eyebrows back in the day, all the time. Not just the DipBrow pomade. But anyways, I'm taking a little bit of those two shades mixed, and I'm gonna place them on the outer and inner corner of the eye to create a bit of a halo effect. And then I'm just gonna kind of wiggle them and blend them together. And then I'm gonna go back and layer the shimmer shade in the center, because I have a feeling we're gonna lose a little bit of its intensity during this blending process. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of the sable and taupe, which is the brown mixtures, and I'm just gonna run that on the lower lash line a little bit because I want to add some black, but I don't want to put black on this brush before I do my lower lash line. Now on that same blending brush, I'm gonna dab into black ever so slightly, and I'm just going to put it in this outer corner right here and kind of drag it outward. So now with the same brush that we set the lid with, I'm just going to highlight the brow bone with that cream shade again, and then I'm going to take a little bit of champagne and I'm going to use that as an inner corner highlight. I don't remember what brush I used to use to do this, or if I even did it, but I'm doing it today. And this is the Luxie Tapered Blending Brush. Now I also used to use eyeliner a lot in my makeup tutorials, and that's before I realized that I was allergic to the dye in black eyeliner, so I don't like to put it in my waterline typically. But since today is a throwback of old favorites video, I'm just gonna go ahead and line my eyes with the black eyeliner I used to use all the time. This is an eyeliner from Stila. This is just their black kohl liner. And I'm just gonna go ahead and line my upper waterline. I'm not gonna do my lower because that's what really irritates me. And then of course for mascara, L'Oreal Telescopic. This has been a favorite for so many years. I don't even know how many tubes I've been through. I need to pick up a new one soon because this one is drying out. So now I'm gonna go ahead and hit the skin with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus. Still use this a ton. And for lipstick today, I'm gonna go ahead and use this one by Revlon that I literally used to use all the time. This is all that's left. This is in the shade 463 Sassy Mauve. This lipstick has seen better days. This is actually the first lipstick that I ever wore because I stole it out of my mom's makeup drawer. So I don't know if you guys can see, but the eyeliner that I tightline my upper waterline with is transferring to my lower waterline. So I always used to take a Q-tip and try and clean it up, but it would always transfer anyways. So that was the downside of this formula, is that it was very creamy and it kind of just went everywhere. I'm gonna line my lower waterline with this Urban Decay Voodoo purple eyeliner in the center. So this is the finished look. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos, and leave me in the comment section below what your old favorite products were and if any of the products that I used today were similar to yours or were yours. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.